Hello, my name is Tonya. I'm Tonya, the Business Alchemist on Instagram, and I'm a business astrologer and coach. I help soulpreneurs build the businesses that they want in the most organic, soulful, and authentic way.
Hello. So, have you ever started to scroll on your social media and then you start to see these people like celebrating and confetti going against the screen and they're celebrating their success for the month and their wins for the month? And then you're like, okay, is there something wrong that I'm doing? How come these people are all celebrating and I'm not there yet? Um, how come they're all successful? And then I turn it around and I go, oh, so if I'm not successful, therefore it makes me a lousy person or it makes me not good at doing what I'm doing. Or maybe if I'm not as successful as these people, then there is something wrong with me. And so I go down this spiral of low self worth. And what happens when I take a step back is I realize that I'm using sales as a benchmark of my performance. And I'm using sales as the only benchmark of my performance at this exact point in time. And it's not very helpful, right? I'm sure that there are other benchmarks and there are other indicators of my success. So I think at this point in time, it's really good to catch yourself and to ask yourself if this is the only indicator of your success and if this should only translate into one thing, i.e., you're not a good person or you're not good at doing what you're doing. Because I think sales is just an indication of, yeah, okay, how well your sales is doing, how well the business is doing, but it's not necessarily how well you deliver your product, right? It's not necessarily how much your clients like you. It can be, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. So there are a couple of things in here. Number one, uh, separate, I think, the sales from the self worth, right? And start working out for yourself what indicators of success would you like to see um, for yourself rather than just go based on sales. Okay. And the other thing is to remember that in the corporate world, in the general way in which other people run businesses, sales is really considered to be one of the most common KPIs that we use for performance as a measure of performance, right? Otherwise, how do we measure performance? And so, if that is a commonly used indicator, could it be that we're just adopting this idea and this mindset that sales is the only measure of our performance and therefore we need to use it? What if you can open up your mind to look at other indicators, such as happy clients, such as client reviews, such as people getting in touch with you, such as people, doing referrals to you. So I think it's more than that. And I think this is really one of those things where it's good to stop yourself and ask yourself at this point in time, really? Is that really true? Right? Is this my indication of success? And what is success for me after all? What does success mean to me? Is higher sales? Not really, right? This is a borrowed thing. This is something which I borrowed from elsewhere and I just automatically happen to step into it. Okay, so if this isn't an indicator of success for me, right, why don't I just return it back to the sender? Okay, off it goes. All right, so what would I like to replace that with? I would like to replace that with, at least for me, success is having deep relationships with people around me, with my clients, with my audience, who actually get me, who actually understand me, who love what I do, no matter what I do, who have faith in what I do, who, trust me ultimately. And I guess if I was to put anything out there, or if I have to put sales or to put offerings out there, then it would be that they would have faith in me and they would come to me if they need my service. So I wouldn't say that sales is actually a great indication of success for me. Um, and yeah, I just wonder what it's like for you too. Is that the way in which you measure yourself, your success? And do you tie that into your self-worth? Because it's a good idea, I feel, to kind of separate the two, right? Between self-worth and sales. They are both very different things. And when you look at the separation of the two, then maybe what needs to be tweaked for me is not so much my self worth or my concept of self worth, but rather maybe the marketing strategy behind it, right? Maybe I'm not putting myself out there enough, and maybe I'm self sabotaging myself, and therefore I'm hiding away and not allowing people to find me. So it's really not so much about self worth. It's not so much about who, what value, how valuable I am in terms of whether I'm good or not at my job. But it's really just about maybe learning a better sales strategy, learning a better marketing strategy, and learning different ways of getting myself out there, and maybe to realize that I am blocking myself from putting myself out there in some way or other. So yeah, lots to think about, lots of things to discuss. I hope you can understand what I'm saying. It's a bit messy today, but I guess it's something that I feel very strongly about. And I know that many of us get into this, you know, kind of big black dark pit when we start looking into our social media and looking at our feeds as well. So I just want to say you're not alone. Most of us go through this, and it's very likely it happens more often than not. And sometimes the best thing is to really be curious about what's going on in there and to separate between success, sales, and your self worth. Bye for now.